Good evening. My name is Sonia Samtani, and I'm here to have a real, authentic conversation with you about what's behind your masks. Today, I'd like to talk to you about how we actually create our societal masks and what makes our self-esteem so fragile. Our self-esteem basically tells us how accepted we feel. And most of the time, we look at the external environment to tell us how we feel. We can see that so many of us look to validate ourselves through this whole tag of relationships. So we have a relationship with work, and that gives us a career. We have a relationship with friends or society, which gives us our social status. Our relationship with our spouse defines our marital status. But the first relationship that we have had is the one with our parents. It's the one that we are born into. And that is the one that actually has affected our self-esteem and emotional grounding the most. So our family of origin is where many of our successes and our issues come from. So children are actually never born with emotional issues. They're born with physical issues and congenital diseases. But they're not born with anxiety and emotional breakdowns and social alienation. This ends up happening later, and it's a result of them picking up something that's not working in their environment around them. And most often, this is from the family. So in a study by two psychologists, Bowen and Litz, they took a sample of children who had tics, antisocial behavior, emotional breakdowns to an institute, and they began treating them psychologically. Within a matter of 3 months, these children began to show tremendous shifts, and the behavior started becoming very normal, so to speak. And so when they showed no signs of their previous behavior, they were then allowed to go back home to their families. And then, within a matter of a week, the same symptoms came back. And so Bowen and Litz concluded that the issue was not with the children. The children were what they called identified patients who were just mirroring the dysfunctionality that was happening back home with the families. So it was really not them that needed to get treated. There was something up with the families. And the truth is, what's behind the mask is that most of the families that we come from are dysfunctional. We're lucky if 1% of the families in this world today are becoming more conscious and more functional. So let's drop the idea that our families are perfect. Yes, we can think they're amazing to us and we love them immensely, but of course we all have our unique dysfunctionalities. And there are basically two types of dysfunctional families, the enmeshed and the disengaged. So the enmeshed families are those where the family values that have been passed down are the most important thing for each person. There is a lot of hierarchy here, and the underlying rule is that you have to keep up with the family's name, even if you don't agree or it doesn't work for you. The children are expected to marry into the same society with someone of a similar standing. They're supposed to join the family business and feel good about it without putting on a face. And if someone feels that this is not working for them, they're seen as a black sheep. So the family will try their utmost best to begin to rescue them. And if the rescuing doesn't work, they ostracize them, and this becomes them being not part of the family anymore. They're disowned. So here there is no individualization, and the members are not equally respected. They're supposed to succumb to the family norm. And now, on the other end, there's another type of dysfunction where there are family members who really don't care about each other. They are what we call disengaged families, where there is no communication. And usually after becoming enmeshed and getting tired of it, we go to the other end of the spectrum and become disengaged. Now, the reason I'm talking about all of this is because the family really lays the foundation of who we are and where our initial feeling of not being enough or being good enough comes from. And again, let's not use this information to blame ourselves or our parents, because let's get it, we're all doing the best we can with the resources that we have. but we can use this information to grow and to understand and become more conscious. So a functional family is one where each member is accepted equally. There are boundaries between each member, and each person can begin to discover who they are and express the uniqueness of themselves. There is also flexibility and there is respect. So in a functional family, if your child decides that they want to become a teacher instead of join the family business, that's okay. And after a while, they decide that they don't like teaching anymore and they want to join the family business again, that's also okay, without any sarcasm or without any I told you so's, because there is flexibility and there is respect and acceptance. Acceptance is key, and it doesn't matter whether one member is 2 years old and somebody else is 70 years old. They're all an equal part of this functional family. So I'd like to leave you with a question. What is one thing that you can accept about a member of your family that you have been resisting? Can you accept that your child is messy and that's just who he or she is? Or your wife doesn't like to socialize? Or your husband is going through a rough time and they need space. He doesn't want to talk. Accepting this will help your family members take off their masks at home and begin to feel accepted by you. And eventually also begin to accept themselves, which is one of the biggest gifts that we can give to ourselves and to others.